Welcome, everyone. This is class number 3 of our series on beginning Irish genealogy, sponsored by the Irish Genealogical and Historical Society. And we're recording the class, so just remember that. We want everyone, when they come in, to mute themselves, and you can keep your video on or not, whatever you prefer. The part we're recording doesn't show who else is on the class besides the speakers, so your privacy is protected there. So to begin with today, before we get into lesson 3, we're doing a brief review of lesson 2. Can you share your screen there, Nigel?
Yes, I'll do that.
Great.
There you go.
And in lesson 2, we talked about some tips and techniques for actually finding your deceased Irish ancestors. There's a lot of links on this lesson too, so we encourage you to go back and even revisit the video. It was uploaded to our YouTube channel in the week, and I hope to get this week's video uploaded a little earlier. I had some personal things this week, but it's up there, and you should have gotten the email with the link to that. So we wanted to give you some realistic expectations about researching your family history. There are records available, and we just wanted to remind you of that. Here is a little chart that we have, and go ahead and scroll down a little farther there, Nigel. Just as a reminder, the basis for Irish genealogy is the civil and government records. And of course, civil registration began in 1864, becoming mandatory by the government. We did mention that there was a low compliance level to begin with. And so there are sometimes that the local areas don't have all the complete records. Some of the reasons with the low compliance was there was a fine for non-reporting, and then people would wait sometimes because of different circumstances and register their children's births later. So there can be some inconsistencies between the parish registry of when the child was baptized or christened and the civil registration. So keep that in mind. Also, we have quite a few links in here for different resources for the births and christenings records. We also have the links for marriage records showing you the year that's applicable and which country it applies. Remembering in 1922, Ireland was split into 2 separate countries between the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. We have a list of places to find death records. And as a reminder, there's a privacy period where these records are not available online. But we did, and I should have mentioned it before, we did show you that you could go to the civil registration offices either in person or send them letters or send them emails to see if you can get some of these records that would be available to you to order them and pay for them. But to get them free, that's what we have these websites for. Then in church records, as I mentioned, there can be some discrepancies between the dates on them, but we wanted to give you some help with different places. There are church records that are available before the civil registration began, so that's important to review those links as well. We also talked about record sets available and doing a different way to search the various online repositories and archives for these records to see if perhaps there might be something that your ancestors' footprint would show up in these records. So we also have some more lists here, as you know, Nigel's showing you down through, and we wanted to give you some tips for searching for names, and so we've got some different links about Irish variant spellings for Irish surnames, Irish given names, the Irish naming convention, Anglicization of Irish names, the nicknames that someone might have, and also sometimes some of the Catholic records were in Latin. So I've done a bit of a quick review here at this point, but we wanted to make sure we had plenty of time for our two topics for today, which has to do with recording your sources and memories as well as merging duplicates. So Nigel is going to present that information to us today.
Thank you, Eva. Today I'm going to be talking about back to FamilySearch, how we can provide evidence and additional information to the people that we have found. So last week we spoke about finding our deceased Irish ancestors. Now you want to add some color to their life. So perhaps you have a story that you would like to add, and you can type that into FamilySearch. I'll show you a story of one of my ancestors that was shipwrecked off Robben Island. That's where Nelson Mandela was held. That was in 1860 about. So that's a personal family story. So there's text documents, there's audio files. So go and record somebody, and then you can upload the recording so that you know what they sounded like. And of course, pictures of people. So a picture may have several people in the picture, and we can tag each of the people in the picture. These text documents, audio files, and pictures are up to 15 megabytes in size. You can get about 15 minutes of audio in a 15 megabyte file at a reasonable audio quality. We'll also talk about attaching an internet source. So if I've got evidence of a birth, for example, and I'll show that to you, I want to attach a URL that stands for Uniform Resource Locator. It's an internet web address that normally starts HTTP or HTTPS // and then the internet address afterwards. So you can attach an internet address as evidence for a person's birth, or marriage or death or christening or burial. Now, when you click on these are hyperlinks over here. So for example, if I left click on picture, you will be taken to some instruction on how to add pictures. So pictures and audio and documents, these are called memories, and you can add them into your FamilySearch memories there. And there is some more detailed instruction on how to do it. So if we go back to these links here, they're hyperlinked. Click on text, audio, pictures, or attaching an internet source. So for example, text documents, you can actually type it in, or a PDF could be a text document. Audio files, the standard computer audio files that end in .mp3, .m4a, .wave. Pictures, if you want to upload a picture, it's JPEG or TIFF or BMP or PNG. These are formats. And all of these documents or formats are called memories, and you can upload them into your memory section on FamilySearch. After that, we also want to explain to you how you're going to deal with duplicates. So a person may have been entered twice in FamilySearch. You've got two records, but they represent the same person. Dan Hull says there's a rule when it comes to merging people. If you're not sure that they're the same person, don't merge. Or if you don't know how to merge, don't merge. But we will show you how to merge. And there's some hyperlinks here on how to merge. And I've got a little presentation that I'll present you on how we do merging. So let me start off today, and we'll start off with adding an internet source, because this is one of the most important. How do I know that the information that you have recorded is correct? So I'm going to do this via an example over here. And I have got two people that are going to be the same that I'm going to use as an example to merge, but I've also found some further information for them. So this is a Mary Allison. We're just going to use this as an example over here. And you can see what I'm highlighting, ending in T8H. is what we call the person ID. It's the record number. It's a series of 7 letters and digits that represent this unique record. So it ends in T8H. If we go to the other record, it's also Mary Allison. It's the same year of birth, same year of death, and it's ending in PPV. Now let's just have a look at this record. I want to example here, 9th of April, 1886, 14th of October. You can see that this is been entered by a J. Potts, and the information was last edited in 2012. The modern version of FamilySearch started in 2012, so all the information, that's the earliest dates that you will see, is in 2012, and they took all the database information that they had at that point and put it into the FamilySearch family tree. If we go back over here, you'll see a different person, same information, but a different person has entered it. Now, if you want to correspond with that person, you can click on their name. So I left click on their name, and I can go to chat, and I can then, okay, this Harrison McKnight is very generous. He's got a picture of himself over here and says, my 12th cousin once removed. You can see relationships. I can email him, or I can chat in FamilySearch. If I left click on chat, it'll highlight this person, and I can give it a title over here, and I can message him, and hopefully when he logs on to FamilySearch, he'll be kind enough to chat back to me. So if you can chat backwards and forwards with people about the changes that they've made. You can also look down over here. If you want to add a note about a person, you can add a note over here, give it a title and put a note. And if you click on alert over there with that little button, it will come at the top and it'll say important research has been done about this person. Please review the note before you make any changes. So you can add a note, the latest changes. If I go here and do show all, it will show from the creation of this record. Okay, if I go down to the very bottom, it'll say FamilySearch because this is FamilySearch took the original record from their database and put it into the new FamilySearch format starting in 2012. But you can see if other people have made changes to this record, you will find it over here. So that's the history of changes that you can find over there. And also if you want to follow somebody and be notified as soon as a change is made, you can click on this follow button, and then you'll be notified as soon as somebody makes a change. Now I have done some research on this person, and I want to add extra information. Mary Allison doesn't have a father or a mother, and I want to add that in, and I want to add in some information as evidence for her birth. So we're going to do it. What we will do is we'll add the internet source, and then we'll also create a picture of the information that we found, and we'll show you how to do it as a picture and also as an internet source. But all of these methods that I'm showing to you, whether you add sources, or you add a note, or you follow the person, or you try and correspond with the person that makes the changes, once the information is correct, you actually don't want people to change the information because it can be very, very frustrating. Your last resort, if somebody's malicious, you can actually report them, and FamilySearch will look into the matter and adjudicate it. And if they are truly malicious, then they'll have the account privileges removed. All right, so I did this 9th of April, 1886. They've given me the exact information over here. So I did a search on irishgenealogy.ie. I put in Mary Allison, and I went from 1886 and the birth. And afterwards, it came up with this record, and I clicked on View Record, and I got the record over here. And we have, let me just zoom it up a little bit so it's nice and big, you can read it. And at the bottom of the page, entry number 375 on the 9th of April, 1886, I said Clochandaf, is a Mary, a daughter of a James Allison and a Jane Allison, who was previously Walker. And for good measure, I wanted then to try and find Cloghanduff, so I went to townlands.ie, and I'll go to townlands.ie to actually try and find that. And I didn't have success initially. Let me go back to the original record. If I go to the top, the civil registration, this says County Antrim. So I went to townlands.ie. I went to Antrim and I typed in CLAUGH because that's what it looked like to me. And I didn't find Cloghanduff. So I went to the top. And the way you get here is you do a Control F. And then I typed in DUFF. And I got Ballyduff, and I went down and Carnduff, and then eventually you get Cloghanduff, and we can have a look at Cloghanduff on the map, which I have done over here. And townlands.ie gives it to me, a little map of where the place is, and I can see where it is in relation. That's Belfast, and I can see where it is in relation to Belfast. So between Antrim and Belfast. Also, if we go to our notes over here, and if I could only understand or read part of the name and couldn't make out the rest of the handwriting, I could go to maps and places, and there was Townland database. So I left-clicked on Townland database, and in Townland database, I said Duff, DUFF, and I knew that this registration took place in Antrim. So I went to Antrim and I did a search on that. Click submit, left click on submit. And there's Cloghanduff, so it's spelt a little bit differently. And it gives me the size of the townland in acres in Antrim in the barony of Upper Belfast, the parish of Temple Patrick, and the Poor Law Union of Antrim. So that's just how you can find it over there. So now now that we've had a look where it is on the map, let's get back to how we can use this as a source. So let me get back over here. All right, now what I want you to take note is up at the top where I highlight, I'm going to left click over here. In your browser, this is the URL that I was talking about, Uniform Resource Locator, or the website address. And I left clicked on it, I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to left click copy, because I want to use this as a source. Okay. In my record over here. So I'm going to go to this Mary Allison, and I'm going to make a change over here, and we'll just put in Cloghanduff, County Antrim. Okay, they've got it over there, Cloghanduff, Antrim Island. This is before 1922. That's exactly what I want, so I'm going to save that. And I will add in her parents over there that we found. Sorry, let me get back to there. It was a James Allison and a Jane Walker. So James and Jane. So let me go back to Mary there, and I'll add in the parents. James Allison is male and he would be deceased. And here it's suggesting a match. Okay, so before I take that, I'm going to just have a look. I'm going to right click on this and I'll left click open in a new tab. And there they have a Mary Allison as well. 9th of April, 1886. So that looks like it is correct. I will accept this. And they've got Janet Walker, and we had in our record over here, let we go back, it is a Jane. So Jane or Janet Walker. But I think I'm going to accept that, add that match, and I'll select the couple. It will just make life a little bit more interesting when we go to do our match merge a little bit later on. So now I want to add a source. There are no sources over here. So I'm going to left click on source, and I'll left click on add a new source, and then add a new source over here, and I'll give it a date, and I'm going to give it the same date as the event took place. So that'll be the 9th of April. Sorry, my keyboard wasn't typing. 9th of April 1886. And the title, I can do whatever I want over here, but I'll just give you my format, Mary 1886, and I'll say Irish Civil Birth Record Entry. You can give this whatever name you wish, and what I will do to help the person coming afterwards, I'll say it's entry number 375. So I'll copy this URL, and we'll go back. Sorry, that's not the one I want there. It's 375 at the bottom of the page. You don't have to add that. Really, you can just, if that's all you want to put in, that you can. Now it says here, web page, link to the record. I'm going to right click in this space and left click paste. And if I go back to the very beginning over here, notice that you see HTTPS. This is a website address that starts like that. And when I scroll down, I'm not going to add it to my source box. If I want to add this source as a source of information for many people, I'll add it to my source box. But I'm going to click on the tag name, sex, and birth. This record is evidence for the name, the sex, and the birth. Why is that? Because I've got a name over there. It says female, and I have a date of birth and a place of birth. So this is evidence for those three pieces of information. So I tag all those three and I say save. And you see the sources is now 1, and it's got a little world address over there. If I go back to details, and if somebody comes along and now wants to edit it, you'll see the name change is now Nigel G. If I go on the right-hand side, the latest changes is by me, September the 20th, 2025. That shows you what has happened to the record. But if I now want to go and change the date of birth, let's say I'm somebody else that's coming along, I'll left click on the pencil icon there, and immediately I'm presented with a source of information here on the right because I tagged name, sex, and birth. And if I click on this little drop down, it's got a web page link. And in my description, I'm telling them actually where to look on the page. So that's why I add this information. So I left click on that. It'll open up this record. I'm going to entry 375. Now, when they recorded records, they started at 1 and they went to 500. And then they started counting at 1 again. I go to entry 375 and I say, okay, now I see this original source of information. So this is how you can add a web address as a piece of information. All right. There is another way that you can do this as well. Maybe I took a picture of that or a screenshot of that image, which I have done. And now I'm going to add another source, but I'm going to show it to you instead of a web address, I'm going to do it as a picture. So what I want to do is add a source. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to add the same source twice, but I'm going to left click, add a new source. And this is going to be add a memory. And then I'm going to upload the memory here. Select upload memory. And I'm going to pick the file. Now I've already, in preparation for this, I took a picture of that birth record. And I'm going to upload this. So I left click on that and I left click open. And I upload the picture. And there we go. And it's got the little picture over there. And I'm going to put in the same date of birth here, 9th of April, 1886. And Alison Mason Mary, 1886, birth, civil birth record. Birth record. Give it a name, and I'll tick the same 3 fields again, and I'll click Save. All right, now that is a source over there. And that picture is a source. So let me go to this picture over here. You see my sources have now become 2. And I'm going to left click on this picture to bring it up. And then somebody can click on the picture and they can then have a look at. Now I'm going to zoom in a little bit on the picture over here. And we've got Mary, James Allison, and Jane Allison over there. So if we go back to Mary, I want to show you a few things of you. I've been working with Mary Allison. This is her person ID. I'm going to left click on this to copy that person ID. It says copied over there. I'll do that again, left click, ID copied. Because what I want to do is I want to show you a couple of other things over here. Click on a face to tag a person. Now this is, I want to show what this is. There's 3 little dots over here. And I'm clicking on these 3 little dots and I'm going to say change it to a document, because it's not really a picture of a person, but it's a picture of a birth record. So I'm going to left click change to document, and it says memory change to document. But I'm going to put a little box around Mary, and what I will do is over here is I'll put a little box around that, make it a little bit bigger there. Let me just get that bigger. So, and why am I putting a box around this is Mary Allison. Okay, this is a person that I've been working with, but let's say the person's name that I want doesn't pop up there. I will just left click add new, but it's not linked to anybody in my family tree. So I'll left click attach to the tree, and then I'll paste in, left click in this box, right click, left click paste, and I paste the person ID, and I left click find ID, and then I'll attach it here. So now there is a record or memory of Mary Allison. If we go back to Mary, and I'll refresh with this little circle over there, and my memories went from 0 to 1. Okay, and it's got it showing it over there. And if I left click on that picture and I come to Mary, it'll show on the left hand side, it's white over white, a little bit difficult, but it'll show where Mary is in this picture over there. But I can do a little bit better than that, because there are other people. There's a James Allison and a Jane Walker over there. So let me go back to, I need to go. Okay, it was this James Allison and this Jane Walker. So I'm going to left click on this James Allison. I'll go back to the memory, and I'm going to put a little box around James Allison over here. We can do that a little bit. And James Allison. It actually happens to be this person. So they'll now come on the right hand side. I'll go back and I'll go to his wife. They've got Janet Walker here, and I will go and change that as well. So I double click and and that will bring me up a little box over there, and I'll put that around, and I'll put in here Janet Walker. Add new. It didn't give me the right suggestion, but I'm going to attach to the family tree. Left clicked on that, left click in the box, right click, left click paste, find in family search. This is the person I want, and I'm going to do attach. So in the one picture, I have got 3 people mentioned over here. And if I go to James now, his memories is 0, but when I refresh the page, his memories will be 1. And if I left click on that, and I left click there, and I go to James, I can find him in this document. So if we go back, let's just go back to James, and we want to go back to Mary Allison. We've got two sources over here. One I attached via the internet URL, and the other one is a picture, and it is evidence. So they can click on the picture and have a look at it and see that that is the correct person. So it's two different ways, whether it be a picture or whether it be an internet URL that you can attach. And this picture that you can upload is a maximum of 15 megabytes in size. All right, so at this point, I'm going to jump now into match merging, because we have two Mary Allisons over here. And I purposely wanted to change this Mary Allison, add in a little bit of extra information, and add in, she's put her into a family. We've got two of them over here. I also had another Mary Allison from before, who was married to the James Starrett. So I have got a duplicate. When I looked at this record over here, it said possible duplicate. So you're going to see this in FamilySearch come up on the right-hand side, and it wants you to resolve duplicates. So let me explain how. I'm going to explain the principle of duplicates. So let me just put some info. Let's see if I can get this to the left-hand side, and then this Mary Allison. Yeah. You see, I wanted my other Mary Allison on the left. Just hold on. So I've got my two Mary Allisons over here. Just this record. I need to make. Please just excuse me. I've just got to shrink it a little bit so that you can see it comfortably side by side. And we go up here. So we've got two Mary Allisons. You can see that the numbers are different. One was there. This is the one that I changed at the moment. One on the left-hand side. They are the same person, and we've got here a possible duplicate. Now, what I want you to take note over here is Mary Allison. We have a little bit more information on the left-hand side compared to the right, because I added in the information. We've actually got a place of birth. I've also attached two sources. So the record on the left has a little bit more information than the record on the right. So when we do merging, you're going to be presented with a record on the left and a record on the right, and you're going to choose which of the information on the left versus the right you prefer. When the merge is done, the person on the left will be deleted. This record will be marked as deleted, but the record on the right will be the surviving record. Now, when you do a merge, there's information about the person, such as their name, birth, death. The death information seems to be exactly the same, but we have a little bit more birth information on the left. You also have relationships. So there's birth, marriage, so there's birth, christening, death, burial, or other personal information. And then there are also relationships. So let's just look down at the relationships with this person. They've got a husband, John Starrett. The name is the same. The year of birth and death is the same, but they have different IDs. So after I merge the Mary Allisons, I'm also going to have to merge the John Starretts. But this Mary Allison on the right-hand side does not have parents and does not have brothers and sisters. So what you've got to do, the information that you choose, that you want to preserve, has got to end up on the right-hand side, and the relationships that you want to preserve has got to end up on the right-hand side when you do a merge. So for relationships, you're always going to move left to right. the information you choose, whether you want to move it from the left to the right, the information pertaining to a person. So let me explain this in a little bit more detail over here. So we're going to do talking about match merging in FamilySearch. This principle applies to whether it's FamilySearch or you know, personal computer software that you have on your computer, or other websites like Ancestry or MyHeritage, where you do this. So merging involves two records that are the same person, but they're two different records on the computer system. And you're presented with a left-right scenario. So merging involves two records in FamilySearch who you consider to be the same person. It allows you to transfer information pertaining to that person, such as their birth, christening, death, burial. Okay, you choose a winner between the left and the right, and what wins goes to the right-hand side, and relationships. So that'll be relationships, will be spouse, parents, children. And the relationships you want to move from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. So think of, there's personal information and then there's relationships. And relationships, you move from the record on the left to the record on the right. The left-hand record will be deleted in the merge process. It's actually just flagged or marked as deleted in the computer system so that you can restore it if you made a mistake. And remember that we saw this, Mary Allison had a John Starrett, and both, we had two records for Mary Allison. We had two records for John Starrett. So we first of all going to merge the Mary Allisons together, and then we're going to merge the John Starretts together to complete the process. So how does this work? This is an example. I have a left-hand side record here. This is information like birth and death. I have a little bit more information on the left-hand side. I'm highlighting it in green, and I want this to preserve it and merge it with the person on the right-hand side so that my merged record is a combination of information from the left-hand side record and the right-hand side record. So in this case, I'm going to move across the death, date, and place. This Mary Cannon is got a James Ward and a Mary Jane Ward as a child. And this Mary Cannon has a James and a Mary Jane Ward and a John Ward as children. Now the children go from the left to the right. If I didn't move the relationships from the left to the right, this James Ward and that Mary Jane Ward would be left without a wife or without a mother, because the end result you will have is a new Mary Cannon, but she will have two husbands, James and James Ward, and 3 lots of children. And so afterwards, you're going to have to merge this James Ward with that James, this Mary Jane Ward with that Mary Ward to get a final result. The layout has changed. I've showed you how FamilySearch now presents to you a suggestion that you need to do a merge. So this is the start of the process. I will demonstrate that to you. It allows you to compare. We will go through that. And you move your information from the left to the right, your relationships from the left to the right. And then you'll be asked to give a reason why you want to do this merge. And then afterwards you will click finish merge, and then it will be complete. So let's go and do this for real. So I want to do a merge over here. I'm just going to copy this ID on the left, and this Mary Allison afterwards will be marked as deleted. So here we go. We'll go up to the top, and I am going to click on this, and I'm going to say left click review merge, and improved merge experience. So all right, I think I want to turn off. Okay, What they've got over here is the duplicate, the person that's going to survive, and the result. Okay, so what I want over here is I want this information on the left to go to the right. Okay, notice what happens there. At the moment this is chosen, but as soon as I left click on that, I go from the left to the right. The death information is the same. I don't need to change that. And there is a John Starrett over here. They're going to move the spouses from the left. This one doesn't have, this one has a spouse over there. You see the two John Starretts, they have different person IDs. Okay, they have different person IDs. So what is going to happen here on the right is this Mary Allison is going to have two John Starretts as a husband. I'm going to have to merge the John Starretts afterwards. And she didn't have parents, but the parents are going to move. So this is the resulting record. I have sources here. I had no sources here. It's going to move from the left to the right. So I'm going to left click on merge and finish merging by submitting the merge reason. So I'm going to say first names and last names match. The birth dates match, but not the birthplace. The death dates match. And I'm going to, it's suggesting a reason here, and I'm going to left click on submit. And then it will have completed it. So it says merge successful here, and notice that I have the extra information. And if I go back to the old record over here, and I do a refresh, notice that it says deleted person over there. So that is how we do a match merge. This is done with a new match merge way. So let me just show you a little trick that FamilySearch has done over here. That was the enhanced way of doing a match merge. So if I'm going to left click on FamilySearch, and if I go down, they had experiments. So I'm going to view experiments over here. And further down, enhanced match merge experience, improved match merge experience. I use the improved match merge experience. I'm going to turn it off. And I will go and merge the husbands now. And we'll do the husbands without the enhanced experience so that you can see it both ways. All right, so now I have gone to, let's see, this is the one that we want. We've got two John Starretts over here, and I'm going to merge it. So let's go and, yeah. Let's go and choose one of these two. I'm going to go into this John Starrett, and we will try and do, and it's suggesting a duplicate. So I'm going to do the duplicate. So I merge the wife was duplicated and the husband was duplicated. So I merged the wife, and now I'm going to merge the husband. So review merge, left click on review merge. This is the non-enhanced process. It says possible duplicate. You can switch records left to right. If you switch positions, then you're switching who will be deleted afterwards, but I'll keep it the way it was. So I'll switch positions, and it's presenting me information on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side. So I've decided that they are the same, so I'm going to say yes to continue. And now, do I want to replace the right-hand side with information from the left? I think I prefer this information. I like the exact information. I can go and fill in County Donegal afterwards. So I'm going to left click on replace, and then you'll see it moves it across. I have more death information on the left, so I'm going to left click replace. It'll keep it there. Now my spouse, Mary Allison, it's the same ID, so I don't need to move it left to right. but it's got some marriage information. So they're saying about 1916 Ireland. I don't know that I want to take that across. If I replace it, it'll go across, but let's say in this case, I don't want to. And I've got parental information over here, and I left click on continue. And I need to pick a reason. So I'm going to say most minor information, some details contain minor conflicts. I'll add that. You can then go and add extra explanation if you want to over there as to why they are the same. I will just leave that as it is for now. And I will click on finish merge, and then the merge is done. So that's the existing way to do a merge. The other one was the enhanced way to do a merge over there. Now, what FamilySearch also does is they give you suggestions. There are conceptually two databases in FamilySearch. There is your family tree, and then there are what they call the indexed records. So when you do a search on FamilySearch, you can do a search. You can search records, or you can search family tree. Indexed records where people, volunteers have gone along and they've looked at original government birth, marriage, death, or church, christening, burial, marriage records, and they've been presented with a picture. And then on the other part of the page, they type in what they see to be the birth information, and so they index it or computerize the picture, and that goes into a database. So conceptually, FamilySearch has two databases, indexed records and family tree records. So now it's coming up with me with the suggestion of an indexed record, John Starrett find a grave. So this is research help. So I'm going to left click on that. And it says, let's view this. Well, I'm going to go, it's got a suggestion here of date of birth and date of death. And this is coming from Find a Grave. So I'm going to review and attach. And let's just have a look at this view record. I'm going to right click on view record over there. And I'll go to right click, open a new tab. And I'll actually want to view this record, and I will view the original record. They found a match on Find a Grave. So let's see if I go to Find a Grave. And this is John Starrett. Gortley is actually right next to, right where I live here in Letterkenny. I can go to that graveyard over there in Gortley. So there's the grave. So this is information that it's got for his birth and death. So what I'm going to do over here in the source linker is I'm going to attach, it says he's buried in Letterkenny. Yes, I'll add it. And I'm going to actually, Gortley is a townland within Letterkenny. So I will just, Gortley, County Donegal, it's actually within Letterkenny, the town. There's a place called Gortley Tool Hire where I go to hire tools. And so it's attaching an indexed record with a person in my family tree, and I left click attach. So let's go back and have a look at this John Starrett now. I'll go back and have a look at him. And we notice that he's got a source over here. So I'm going to left click on the source, and it's got from Find a Grave. So I'm actually going to add a date in here, 28th of March, 1968. And I'll tell you why I do that, so that it can, the benefit of putting in a date is so that you can see your sources in order. And we'll just do, okay, I didn't do a take there. Let me just go and add that again. 28th of March, 1968. Click on that, click on save. Okay, there it's got it there. It's going to put your sources in order. So let me go back to details. I'm going to add one more source so that you see it here. Ireland births and baptisms. Let's have a look if it's got 9th of May 1877. So I'm going to review and attach this, and then we'll see, we'll have a second source over there. Yes, I like this. I'm going to attach it, and it agrees with the information. So I'm making a linkage between the indexed record on the left and the person on the right. Now, what is this going to do? I'll close that, and you'll see that the sources now will go to 2 when I do a refresh. And let me left click on sources. And you see it's put it in date order there, the sources. And if I look the source that I just dropped down, I'll go to that drop down. It'll give me the FamilySearch record. Somebody has indexed this record and it has given the birth information. So that is FamilySearch's evidence for that. And notice that the name, sex, and birth have been tagged. So if I go to details, let's have a look again at the birth information. You will see there that we've got find a grave as evidence, and we've also got the birth information. So this provides evidence for the births of people that you want to do. All right, sorry, it's a long, continuous lecture today. I apologize for that. But next I want to go to, let's go and deal with photographs. So we've done with evidences and using pictures as evidence, but let's go and deal with photographs over here. So,
Nigel,
yes.
before you go, can you go back to your last, where you were with John Stenton? Whenever
Yes.
FamilySearch lists the duplicates first and then the documents second in the research help,
Okay.
they recommend that you solve the duplicate first and then add records. Do not do it in the reverse order because it could create more duplicates that way when you're trying to merge the duplicates. So always go red to blue. And then
Thanks for that tip. Appreciate that, Dan. Okay, so next, let's go. I had examples here, and we want to go. What I want to do, sorry, I just want to sign out because I've got permission from this person to use their FamilySearch account for the next demonstration that I want to do. So I'm going to left click on my name. Well, before I go there, I'm going to go to memories. Let me show you some of my own memories over here. Well, better still, under memories, I won't go, that'll be a little bit too personal. Let me go to my family tree. I wanted to show you something else with memory. So my great grandfather was shipwrecked off Robben Island that I spoke about earlier. So I just want to go to his record. He was 6 years old. His mother and siblings drowned. I think 2 of his siblings drowned. He and his father survived. So under memories, this is a picture that I took from him as a book. You can upload, you can see that's a picture that I got from a book of his. I've got a marriage certificate, a birth certificate, this is in South Africa, a death certificate. But what I've also attached is a picture over here. Sorry, is a story, and this came out of a newspaper because he was shipwrecked off Robben Island, and half the ship broke in half, with the front half resting on the rocks and the back half going into the water. And unfortunately, people drowned, but there was a lot of booze on board. And amongst the cargo was a large quantity of wine, spirits, and beers. And these sailors no sooner found themselves safe than they breached the casks and commenced drinking. And one of them got so drunk that he died. So there's a little bit of a colorful story that you can add to your family there. So I just wanted to show that you can also add stories, which I typed in, but let me sign out. And I'm going to sign in with this other account. Okay. So you upload pictures, and you can upload pictures to your gallery. Now, what I want to show you over here is I'm going to copy this ID. And here is a picture of 6 people at a wedding. And unfortunately, they put a box around everybody, so you don't know who is who. But I have been told on authoritatively that who this person is, and it's a Lavinia Robinson over there. So I left click to copy that ID. And in the picture, I'm going to highlight this person. So I double click over there and I put a little box around her, the head over there. And I'm going to say this is a Lavinia Robinson. Lavinia. And it's not this Lavinia Robinson that's alive. And I'm going to add new. Okay. And then I'll left click attach to the tree. And I'm going to put in this ID that I had over here, the one that I copied. I'm going to left click in the box, right click and paste, and I'll say find, and it's this Lavinia Robinson, not the one that's alive. Left click attach, and so now I've highlighted that person in the picture over there. You can also highlight other people, and they should put in here a title. So there's no title on this. You can left click. There will be a place. They've changed how they do this all the time, but you can add, when you upload a picture, add a title over there. There we go. Can I just add? Yes, I double clicked in there, and I think I might be able to put a title in there. You will be able to put titles to pictures. So I wanted to show you, and I recommend that, that you identify when there are several people in a picture, that you identify them. So you upload it. If you go to memories, if you go to your start of your family search, and this is for personal family pictures, there's a section called memories, and there's a section gallery. And when you go to gallery, you add more memories, upload, and then you drag files and you upload those files over there. Now, memories are publicly available unless you specifically mark that memory as private over there. So I just want to highlight that fact. So just be aware of that, and you can attach memories to people into FamilySearch. Okay, I've been going for just about an hour. I'm going to stop over here. I don't know if others want to add any more.
Well, Nigel, could you go
Yeah.
back to your notes and review those 2 new links that we put into the OneNote?
Oh, yes.
The
Thank
merge
you.
help guidance, and then the other one.
Yep, I'll share my screen again. So if we go back to our notes over here on lesson 3, and if you go down, we've got merge help guidance on FamilySearch, and it'll take you to the website when it loads. So that's one. This is the familyhistoryguide.com. They have a lot of help on how to use FamilySearch Family Tree. You can easily merge duplicates. This is another one, a website. It's the Family History Fanatics. Now, it's a little bit out of date. As you can see, FamilySearch have changed it, but it'll give you the principle over there on how to do that. And if we go to the bottom of the notes over here, we explained to you about view experiments. So there were 2 ways. I showed you the new way with the enhanced merge experience. So view experiments, and you go to all the experiments over here, and you can try out these experiments. So then it's the try the improved merge experience. You left click try it, and you then turn on the experiment over here. I prefer the old way, but you may want to turn on the experiment or turn off the experiment over there to do merging. If you have any pictures of yourself, I mean of your family in our breakout rooms, we can show you how we can upload them and attach them to people in your family tree. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm going to set up the breakout rooms now. Dan, did you want to mention anything more about the experiments while I'm setting these up? Oh, no.
Part
No?
of the reason, just before we go, is why I spend so much time on match merging is people have difficulty with it. And if you're not sure, don't merge. And if you don't know how to merge, don't merge. But we want to give you the confidence, so that's why quite a bit of time was spent on it, because you will find duplicates.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think, did you want to make a comment now, Dan, or?
Yeah. When years ago, when we were first creating FamilySearch, we did extraction, meaning that we went into places like England, Ireland, Germany, Sweden, and we extracted a record. So if it was a record like Allison, a record where it was when they were born, we put in Allison and we put in the parents and the birth date. Then we went and we kept doing that. And so we might have 6 children in there, and we created 6 duplicate parents when they did that extraction. So that's why we have so many duplicates in FamilySearch. We weeded out quite a few of them, but that's why you'll see that many of them have a duplicate from 2012, because those records that were extracted before then were dumped into FamilySearch, and FamilySearch realized that they were creating duplicates doing it that way, but they wanted to capture all of those people. So that's why we have so many duplicates, and it's easy to fix, but you have to learn how to do it.
Thank you. It's always good to get a little bit of this history. I appreciate that. So I'm going to stop the recording now, as we're getting to go into the breakout rooms. And when we're done with the breakout rooms in about 25 minutes or so, we will come back to the main room again. So here I'm